Soccer star Megan Rapinoe wants transgender athletes in girls' sports. We have updates on Joe Biden's infrastructure plan, as well as an update on the U.S.-Mexico border regarding that 3-year-old and 5-year-old that was dropped from a 14-foot wall. And Donald Trump video is removed from Facebook. And I have a lot to say about that. Before we get into our lead story, please take a moment to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as copy and paste this YouTube video on your social media. It will help the algorithm push my video to viewers who have not seen my channel or my videos. And also, please don't forget to hit that bell notification so you're notified whenever we go live, which is every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which means 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And in our lead story today, it comes from our friends over at the Daily Wire. It is titled, "Soccer Star Megan Rapinoe Pushes for Transgender Athletes in Girls' Sports." Wasn't that just lovely? We constantly hear this push to have basically men in women's sports. I know we can't say that anymore. Men are not women and women are not men. It's somewhere in between. It's not binary anymore. It's not zeros and ones. You could be anything you want to be today. But here we have a U.S. women's soccer star, Megan Rapinoe, on Sunday advocated for the inclusion of transgender athletes in girls' and women's sports, despite the physical advantages biological males have over biological females. Rapinoe, who often promotes left-wing politics, claimed legislation seeking to separate athletics by biological sex rather than gender identity are an attack on transgender people, an attempt to solve a problem that doesn't exist. And that's a key point, a problem that doesn't exist. In their mind, these leftist people, they're not with us. They're not in reality. They don't think past a specific point. There is always something, some issue that they'll push, some narrative they will push, but they never think past a certain destination or a certain point. And this is exactly what we're seeing. I played ice hockey for 25 plus years. I am still what you could call a professional ice hockey referee. I get paid to do it. I do women and men sometimes. Like, I should be careful how I say that, but forgive me. I referee women's sports or women's ice hockey and men's ice hockey, but there is no contact when the men play the women or the women play the men. There's no contact because the women would get utterly destroyed. Now, are there some big women out there that can hit pretty hard? Yes. But we talk about in general here. In general, men's biological physique is drastically greater than a woman's biological physique. They would get crushed playing ice hockey. And I know that, some trans people don't want to hear that. But, Joe Rogan is not of the right, and he agrees. You put a woman in the UFC versus a man in the UFC, you watch what happens. It's going to be a bloodbath. Nobody even wants to see that. We love watching fighting. I love MMA, but I wouldn't want to see a transgender, man go up against a biological man. I think I have that right. A woman that's being transgendered into a man, so it's a woman battling a man. See how confusing this stuff is? I can't even keep track of it. A woman going up against a man, nobody wants to see that. Now, again, I keep emphasizing this. Are there some outliers there where a woman could kick a guy's you-know-what? Of course. An MMA fighter that's my size would beat the crap out of me. They are trained in it. In the same way, if that same woman was to go on the ice, I would probably beat the crap out of her in ice hockey because I've been trained on it for 25 years. But the point of the conversation is you have people that are advocating for this stuff and they don't think past a certain point. Maybe she's just talking about in soccer because soccer players, they flop all the time. I'm a hockey fan. I've seen soccer. I love soccer. Matter of fact, I wanted to play soccer growing up. Parents wouldn't let me. They put me in ice hockey. Beside the point is when you get in contact sports, UFC, football, ice hockey, these sports that require physique, you're going to get somebody hurt. There's men that have been paralyzed playing ice hockey before. You will have somebody that's going to be hurt so bad just from a normal hit because they're smaller and they want to play in the men's sport. Opportunity for them to be paralyzed or hurt or something that's going to be a life-changing impact or result because you think it's a great idea to have transgender people play in girl sports or men's sports. and it's just a bad idea. And you think that it's because, oh, we're attacking them and all those things. We're not attacking them. It's for people's safety. And it's also not fun to watch. It's not fun to watch a girl that thinks she's a dude join the UFC or join a fighter ring or get in there. I don't know what you would call it other than an octagon. I don't know if they're what the different competitions are at a lower level. But if they were to hop in there at a young age, it's not going to go well. It's not enjoyable to watch. It's not an even matchup. And it's kind of sad at the end of the day. But you have people here in the LGBTQ community that are just constantly pushing this stuff. And my thing is, Megan's not even a transgender person as far as I'm concerned. Maybe she is. But wouldn't you want advocates of the transgender community to go up there? And then how about those advocates jump into a men's sport or vice versa and see what happens? Just have them do it for a bit. Whether they play the sport or not, I think they should get in there, get in the octagon, get on the ice, play a football game against the opposite gender, and let's just see what happens. Because if you're going to be up there advocating for it, you sure in hell better know what you're talking about. But that's a typical thing of the left. They're pushing stuff that they don't know anything about. They're trying to handle things, be in the lead of things that they know nothing about. And that's when tragedy strikes and tragedy happens. Now, speaking of tragedy coming into full effect here, we have an update on Biden's infrastructure bill that spends more on electric vehicles than highways, bridges, and roads. This comes from the legend Phil Shiver at Blaze Media. I've commented on a ton of times. Whenever I could talk about one of his articles, I will. He's one of my favorite journalists. But it says here, when most Americans hear the word infrastructure, they rightly think of foundational physical structures such as highways, bridges, roads that allow society to operate. Because we're a community, we all utilize it, we all pay taxes on it. Thus, we should all be able to end up fixing the roads through those taxes. But like I said in yesterday's show, we don't know where our money's going. We pay federal taxes, we pay state taxes. This stuff shouldn't be coming out of a $2 trillion infrastructure plan. It should already be taken care of. But it says here, however, the Biden administration, those basic physical structures are merely a slice of the vast infrastructure pie, and a small amount at that. Many Americans may be interested to find out that Joe Biden's American Jobs Plan, consistently touted by the administration as an infrastructure bill, spends comparatively little on highways, bridges, and roads. Instead, the bulk of the massive $2 trillion plan is set to go towards other progressive initiatives such as electric vehicles and free community college. If you remember, I talked about that about a week ago, but also in the last episode, that I wouldn't be surprised if his American Jobs Plan incorporated what I talked about last week of a nationalized leave paid plan, community college, daycare expenses or childcare expenses, things like that. And here we have Phil Shiver reporting on that very thing, that is exactly what Biden is planning to do. He's planning on granting that leftist wish list, is what I call it. He's going to be the genie in the bottle that's going to grant all this free stuff to the left because that's what they've been wanting. And Joe Biden, just like we all called it, every conservative and Republican called this, that Joe Biden's going to cater to the left. So what are the details? Let's see what Phil says here. According to a chart, and I'll post it on the screen, obtained by the Washington Post, which details the proposal spending breakdown, the administration plans to spend only $115 billion, roughly 1/20th of the total on highways, bridges, and roads, while spending $174 billion on electric vehicles, $213 billion on affordable and sustainable housing, and $137 billion on public schools and community colleges, and $180 billion on climate-based research and development. So just spending money everywhere, not looking at, hey, what do we need most? What is the most critical thing that everybody uses, which is bridges, roads, highways? But let's just go spend money on climate change, research and development, electric vehicles, sustainable housing, all this stuff, when not everybody even utilizes that stuff. And also, it's kind of funny that he's spending money on these certain aspects like affordable housing when you're the one that's talking about increasing the tax rate, which is going to increase affordable housing because people can't pay for the taxes that you're going to have to put in to pay for this $2 trillion plus the 1.9 you just got done spending. And by the way, folks, this is a minimum of $2 trillion. And I said that last time, even in the last week's episode, it was a minimum of $3 trillion. Whenever the government talks about spending something, it's going to be vastly more. We all know that. Look at California, the high-speed rail that we're putting in. Some idiot decided to put that into effect, and that's gone through the roof, way over budget. But There's a graphic here that talks about the infrastructure at home versus the transportation infrastructure. It's all highlighted for you. I'll leave it up here just for a little bit. But research and development, 180. Manufacturing and small businesses, 300 billion. Electric vehicles, again, 174. Airports, water transport, and ports, 42 billion. That seems kind of low. So it just seems like the main things that we all utilize is what's getting not a ton of money. Whereas everything that we don't all utilize all the time is getting all the money. So this dynamic and spread, it makes me wonder who was sitting at the table for this? Who was sitting and deciding, hey, this sounds like a good idea? And just throwing darts at a board, just seeing what, I bet you they had this graphic on a dartboard. All right, guys, what are we going to spend on bridges, highways, and roads? Just throw a dart and see where it lands. It could have been anywhere. It could have been the $300 billion thing. We're just gambling at this point. But, John, you fool, you left it at $100 billion, you idiot. It's just, what do you say about this? Because it's preposterous. It's so silly. And like I said yesterday, where is all our money going? And the great thing about this conversation is both you and I, as the viewer and as the person that's doing this, we all pay into the same bucket. So it's your money wondering, where's that going? It's my money, I'm wondering where that's going. And nobody here's figuring it out. But it's good to know that we have somebody in office that doesn't know what the hell's going on either. So it looks like nobody knows what's going on. I don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on with your money. Joe doesn't know what's going on with your money. So it's just somebody out there, please, for the love of God, let all of us know where all our tax money is going, because it's sure in hell not going to the roads. It's sure in hell not going to the bridges or anything else. Also, too, this is federal money. So is federal money going to go to our state roads? Because that's not right for, say, somebody in Florida to have to pay for California's roads because we don't want to spend our tax money appropriately. And vice versa. I shouldn't have to pay state taxes for Florida's roads either. Or wherever you live out in the United States. I'm sure none of you probably watching this maybe live in California or don't, but you guys shouldn't have to pay for our roads here. You don't drive on them. So again, it just makes me wonder where all this stuff's happening, and it makes me think corruption. Whenever I think of government, I think of corruption. This is exactly why we're having to spend $2 trillion, because the government doesn't have a clue on how to run things. But the left want to give government more power, right? And then they bitch about, oh, well, I don't like how they're doing this. I don't want to have to pay more taxes. It's tax season right now. I do people's taxes. I'm still a tax accountant. And, it's amazing. I always make the joke that never in 10 years of doing this have I ever had a Democrat walk into the office and go, hey, I want to make sure that I owe as much money as I possibly can to the United States government. I want to write that fat check at the end of the year. It's always a Democrat, because some of them are my friends, some of them are the leftists, and I always just laugh. I always just giggle under my breath, because I'm like, you're the one that voted in these high taxes. You're the one that voted in a dude that wants to raise the corporate tax from 21% to 28%. Wants to raise the tax on anybody making more than $200,000 a year, or married filing jointly $400,000 a year. You're the one that wants to push in minimum wage increase from $7.25 to $15 an hour. And then you wonder why taxes go up. Then you wonder why you can't afford them. Then you wonder why there's affordable housing. Then you wonder why a $2 trillion plan has to go into effect to build affordable housing, because you got idiots that are voting in this stuff. And you come into somebody's office and say, hey, I don't want to owe more tax at the end of the year. I want a refund.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Why? Why do you want that refund? Leave that refund just for the IRS. Let the government spend it. They're not going to come after you for it. You said you want to owe as much as you possibly can to the government, so let's do it. And you said that through your vote. But now you want to come in and be all hypocritical because now you want your refund, you want your money back because the government doesn't deserve it. It's unbelievable, the hypocrisy. And again, just like I talked about the transgender stuff, they can't think past a certain point. They do stuff and they don't realize their actions have consequences. Or if they do, they just keep getting burned. It's like that kid that touches the stove. You're like, hey, you probably shouldn't touch that stove. You're going to hurt yourself. And they touch the stove again and hurt themselves. And they can't figure out what's happening. They can't wrap their head around it going, if I touch that stove, am I going to hurt myself? Am I going to touch it? Am I going to hurt myself? Every time they keep hurting themselves and they're kicking their own ass. They're like that scene from Jim Carrey in Liar Liar.
What the hell are you doing? I'm kicking my ass. Do you mind?
That's exactly what the left is constantly doing. But they're not just kicking their own butts, they're kicking all of us. And they can't wrap their head around it. Speaking of updates, We have here the Border Patrol agents rescue toddlers dropped from a 14-foot barrier at the U.S. border wall right there. Now, I commented on this. I did a story on this. These two smugglers that dropped off these two toddlers from a 14-foot wall. And I have a video of it. So if you want to check out yesterday's video, hop on over there. But my question was, what happened to these two toddlers? Because the smugglers ran off into Mexico. They didn't hop over the wall with them. They didn't guide them through the states. They literally just dropped them off. Didn't care what happened to them. Those kids' legs could have been broken for all we know. And I talked about what would have happened if those kids' legs snapped in half and cut an artery and just bled to death right then and there. Well, there's a story here by Charlotte Pence Bond titled, Border Patrol Agents Rescue Toddlers Dropped from 14-Foot Barrier at Border into U.S. On Tuesday night, two toddlers were dropped over a 14-foot tall barrier into the United States at the U.S.-Mexico border before being rescued, according to officials. On Wednesday, U.S. Customs and Border Protection released a statement regarding the incident, stating that it was a life-threatening situation that involved two female tender-aged toddlers mistreated and abandoned by human smugglers just west of Mount Crisco Rey. And they caught this on tape. And it says a statement confirmed that the camera worker told agents working in Santa Teresa about the incident and helped them get the remote area where it happened. Perfect. So you got somebody there recording this stuff and had the tenacity, the wherewithal to call somebody and pick up these toddlers. At least somebody cares. And clearly it's only us on the US side, because you got these smugglers that don't care. Their parents clearly don't give a crap because, hey, take my kids there. Doesn't matter what happens to them. Drop them off and peace out. And like I've said, there's kids that die on this journey. I don't just make this stuff up. We don't just hear about them all the time. The sad thing is, we have a report here from the Daily Wire. The agents attempted to save the life of a 9-year-old child from Mexico before handing her off to the Eagle Press Fire Department Emergency Medical Services. The statement confirmed the child remained unresponsive and was pronounced deceased by medical professionals. And what happened was, this 9-year-old child drowned while attempting to cross the border via the Rio Grande. So it does happen. The leftist media just doesn't push this kind of stuff. Joe Biden doesn't care about this stuff. He says he does, right? Because it's all optics. And I'm sure at the end of the day, maybe he does. Who couldn't care about a 9-year-old passing away like this? Their parents don't care. Their parents should have known the consequences. But again, the stuff I'm reading today, it makes you wonder if they actually do think that far ahead on the consequences. It's called opportunity cost, or it's called the cost. The cost is too damn high for you to send your child over here for a better life, because the opportunity cost of them dying, you don't get that back. And it's the one thing that really pisses me off when you do this to children. They don't know any better. And some of them are used for sex trafficking. Some of them are being raped by these smugglers, these cartels, these violent gangs. They're being recruited into the cartel. They're being recruited into these violent gangs. But the left doesn't care. Trump called MS-13 animals. And then you had the left go, oh, well, you're calling all Mexican immigrants animals. You're calling all these people animals. No, he's not. These cartel, these violent gangs, they are animals. Like I said, they will literally take out all your teeth. They will cut off your damn head. They'll make a necklace out of your teeth, and they'll send it to your family. They'll cut off your ears. They'll scalp your head and use it as a damn rug in their house. These are how disgusting these people are. And you think I'm kidding. That's the sad thing. The left thinks we're kidding that there's people that actually do this stuff. They'll use your damn head as a bowl to eat cereal out of. And they think it's a joke. And then they go like this, and then they say, oh, well, we're all upset. No, you're not. You're not upset. Because if you were upset, you would let that wall be built. If you were upset, you'd want Trump's policies back. But you don't care. You don't care about the children. Again, you just claim you do, like AOC out there on the fence taking photos when the Trump administration was in. It's like, oh, I'm at the border. No, you're not. There's nobody on the other side. And the people that are running it are absolute idiots. And I know, trust me, when I say all this stuff, and you're probably going, Brad, you're just repeating yourself. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm trying to get a point across to maybe a leftist that somehow stumbles upon this video, that you have to think past certain ideology or past a certain viewpoint to see the repercussions of what you're trying to push. It's always like, hey, this sounds like a good idea, so let me just push it. But it's not. It's not a good idea. Speaking of things that aren't a good idea and things that were pushed upon us, which was COVID and masks, we have Dr. Fauci here. It says by Blaze Media, Chris Fields, former Trump chief of staff, wants to know why Dr. Fauci isn't saying something about the COVID dangers of the border crisis. Couldn't be more true. We're constantly talking about the border crisis. You got 400, 600 people jammed in pods that are only supposed to hold 250. They're like 1,000% over capacity. You have 6,000 people coming over a day, a lot of them not wearing masks. I think the statistic on it was 6.8 are COVID positive. It's probably higher than that now. That was like what, 2 weeks ago that came out. And so where's Fauci on all this? You know, the guy that said that, you know, he's muzzled and he can't say what he wants to say. Is he too busy out throwing up, pitches at the beginning of baseball games? Where's this guy at? It says here, Dr. Fauci, the director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and President Joe Biden's chief medical advisor, has been more than happy to speak his mind on a multitude of topics whenever he believes there might be even the most tangible coronavirus connection. He is warned against going to the holiday gatherings, attending sporting events, living life without face masks, even if vaccinated, allowing mindless kids to play together, and anything else that tickles his fancy. I don't think I've commented on that too much, just the idea that you're vaccinated and you still have to wear masks or wear a mask. That's crazy. I'm half vaccinated. I got my second one on the 10th. It's crazy that this guy's just out here pushing stuff. Oh, wear 3, 4, 5 masks. Yeah, okay, man. I just can't help but think this guy is political at this point. And let me know in the comments, do you think Fauci's political or not political? I think he's political now. I was all for him in the beginning. I like to give somebody a chance, give them an opportunity, and he failed. The guy failed. He's like a reed in the wind, just going back and forth on stuff, back and forth, which tells me the guy doesn't have a clue. If you had somebody that was telling you one thing about your finances and then a whole nother thing happened and you lost a ton of money and they kept doing it, do you think you'd go back to that financial person? Do you think a guy that kept doing your taxes wrong for years, you would keep going back to that person? But that's what the left loves to do. They love to make mistakes and continually use those person that is making those mistakes so that they can make more mistakes in the hope that they don't make those mistakes anymore. That's exactly what the left does, and it's constant. It says, but he has been strangely silent about the current border crisis where our border patrol is being overrun by thousands of illegal aliens surging into the U.S. The migrant crisis has raised COVID-19 questions in the minds of many observers. Exactly. So where's Fauci? Where are you, man? You're not anywhere to be seen. You're always there to go against Trump on something. You're always there to push some sort of narrative that the leftists want you to push. But here you are, not speaking up against what's going on at the U.S.-Mexico border because you don't care. Either that or Joe Biden's telling you to be silent on it and you're willing to be quiet because you like him more than Trump. But Fauci's just a pawn, man. He's just another piece in the chessboard. He has no clue what's going on either. And where's he at on the whole World Health Organization kind of diminishing the whole idea of the Wuhan lab creating the virus, or at least having the virus starting there? Where's he at on that? Dude, what's this guy doing? Does anybody know? And it's sad because at first you want to take the guy seriously, but now when you're swaying back and forth, you're nowhere to be found on hot button issues, or the hot button issues that you are found on are so happen to be catering to the left constantly, that now you got this issue at the border, and when you got 6,000 people and some of them not showing up with masks on and they're testing positive and you're shoving them all in pods, but we can't hang out with their families, folks. We'll be lucky, according to Joe Biden, if we can have, a nice barbecue on 4th of July. Like, I'm going to listen to you, man, on hanging out with my family. Get out of here, dude. Who the hell in their right mind could tell the American people what to do? That's when you know government's too big. That's when you know the Democrats think they have so much power that they can sit there and tell you whether you can hang out with your family or not. That's the mindset of the Democrats. That's the mindset of the left. And it's a dangerous mindset. And this is the mindset that the conservatives fear. This is the mindset that Republicans fear. Giving government too much power where they can tell you what to do on an individual basis with your own life. The government should never have that too much, or should never have that much power regardless. But that's what the left wants. The left wants the government to tell you what to do. In history, all of you are very aware that is an extremely dangerous thing when your government gets so big that they're telling you exactly what to do, how many people you can hang out with, where you can go, how long you can go out for. It's crazy. And, the sad thing again is the left can't see past a certain point, so they don't see where this has the potential of going. I don't even want the government to have any power. I think every conservative Republican is on board with that. I think the executive branch has way too much power. Even under Trump, I'm not a big fan of executive orders. I don't think that the president should be doing that. And you got Joe Biden doing the exact same thing. And now it's coming back to bite us all in the ass. And at some point, it's going to go too far. We all know that. At some point, the government is going to get too far in America through history, and we're going to have a serious problem on our hands. And I'm going to leave it at that. It might not happen in 10 years. It might not happen in 50 years. It might not happen in 100 years. But that's why we need the Second Amendment, because at some point it will happen. God forbid that does. But at some point it will, because the left continually votes people in that want to make government bigger, want to tax the crap out of us, and ends up hurting everybody. Now, lastly, the last news story of the day is regarding Donald Trump, one of the best presidents in modern history. The guy says some silly stuff. I personally like it. But Donald Trump's video clip removed from Facebook in line with block. Facebook on Wednesday removed a clip of an interview with Donald Trump from its platform, according to the former president's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump. In a post shared to her Instagram account, Laura Trump, who is a Fox News commentator, shared a message from Facebook officials alerting her, that they removed a video teaser of an upcoming interview with her father-in-law on Fox News. The message sent from Facebook explained that the video had been removed in line with the block placed on Donald Trump's Facebook and Instagram accounts. So they completely silenced this guy, as all of you know, but now they're even removing videos of him with somebody else. It's not even him posting it, it's somebody else posting it. And now he's being removed or removed off other people's platforms in or within Facebook or within Instagram, those types of things. It says this guidance applies to all campaign accounts, which is what I was just talking about, and pages, including Team Trump, other campaign messages, vehicles on other platforms, and former surrogates, the email posted to Instagram stated. It added that any further content posted in the voice of Donald Trump will be removed and resulted in additional limitations on the accounts. That's going to a whole nother level. If you want to talk about the whole Capitol thing that happened, whatever. I don't agree with it. I don't think he pushed it. I don't think he had much involvement in on it. I think he had a bunch of psychos that read into things wrongly and they go out and do stupid crap. But you saying that you're going to remove anything that just has the guy's voice in it, that's not weird to anybody. Nobody finds that a little bit strange, even if it's a good message, like a really powerful, good message for the country as an ex-president, and you're just going to remove it. It just goes to show you it was never about the things that Trump said. It was never about anything. They just don't like the guy. Anything they could have found to remove this guy from all social media, they found it. They'll do it. And this is proof. The fact that you're just going to remove his voice or remove even an interview now, a video. And I can't wait because there's rumors that Trump is going to start his own social media platform. I did receive an email, a personalized email. Maybe some of you might have that asked me questions about if Trump created a social media platform, would I hop on it? They wanted my information and stuff like that. And I think he should, because I think this is going to create competition within that platform of social media where it's going to disrupt Apple, Google, Amazon, all the big tech that's out there. I think he's going to have a major shift because then Republicans, conservatives, and I think even also Democrats are going to start striving over that platform. And I think it's going to create a boom that's way bigger than Parler. And I couldn't be more excited for it. I'm going to be totally supporting it. I hope all of you will as well. Once that opens up, it should be in the next couple months here. At least that's what I'm hearing. We should all hop over. We can be friends, kumbaya. We can actually talk about stuff without being worried that we're going to be deplatformed or maybe our voices out there being removed like Donald Trump. But, the left says this stuff doesn't happen. If the left really cared about freedom of speech, don't you think that they would be supporting us? Don't you think that they would be backing us on this? Or backing Trump on it? The left aren't anywhere to be found. Why? Because they don't want the First Amendment, folks. They say they do. If you want the First Amendment, you would advocate for those that you don't like. I'm not a big fan of the left. I think they're fun in conversation talking about food, sports, things like that. When it comes to politics, I'm not a fan of them. But I think that they have a right to speak their mind, and we should all have a right to speak our minds. But they're not there defending us. The leftist media isn't outraged about Trump being removed, even his voice being removed. They're not outraged about it. Your leftist friends aren't outraged about it. My leftist friends aren't outraged about it. Nobody has an issue. They say they have an issue with all this stuff. Case in point, I was talking to somebody today. They said, oh, well, you don't know much about the left. We're all upset about what's going on at the border, but you haven't posted a single damn thing. Not a single damn, oh, well, we're talking about it with our friends. Sure you are, man. Sure you are. It's the hypocrisy of the left, and they're going to destroy our country, man. I very rarely talk in terms like that somebody's going to destroy our country. The ideology, the idea that the left carries is going to destroy America unless we continually push videos out like mine, the Daily Wire, Louder with Crowder, Steven Crowder, the Hodge twins, Will Witt, PragerU, Candace Owens, all these people. We have to get these voices out there so that everybody has an opportunity to hear it and hears different viewpoints, because they're receiving a certain type of education, whether that's through preschool through 12th grade, college. They're constantly being manipulated and they're not hearing other viewpoints, meaning the conservative viewpoint. And so they're living in this milieu that they have no clue that there's other people talking about stuff like the First Amendment, Second Amendment, and how dangerous it is to be pushing stuff like this. They just go out willy-nilly, think this stuff's a good idea, or they don't hear the bad stuff about Joe Biden. They don't hear the bad stuff about what the left and the Democrats are doing. They only hear about, quote unquote, the bad stuff that the Republicans are doing. Thus, they have a bad image in their mind about Republicans, about conservatives, that we're all racist, sexist, homophobes, all this other crazy crap. But that's what we have in today's news. We have here Megan Rapinoe pushing transgender athletes in girls' sports. Biden's infrastructure plan is absolutely ridiculous. Thankfully, thank the Lord that somebody called the Border Patrol to pick up these 2 toddlers. They are doing well. And we also have a former chief of staff of Trump asking Fauci where you're at on the border crisis. And lastly, a video clip of Trump is removed from Facebook in line with the block. You also have Steven Crowder that was removed and banned from Twitter for a week, as well as YouTube. I think I just said that, Twitter and YouTube. It's crazy. It's going rampant. And that's why I ask all of you, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It does push my video out there. Please make sure you share it all over your social media, any one of my videos that you enjoy. That way we can get more people joining the rebellion. We can get more people on board here to support conservative voices out there. Even if you don't watch my video all the time, just you doing a quick like on it will push my video out there. Or you sharing it with your friends and family. Maybe one of them will watch it and share it with their friends and family, and so on and so forth. And lastly, I'm trying to get big conservatives on my show to do an interview. I'm not quite sure how to contact them. So if any of you have connections to conservatives or politicians that would like to come on the show or me on their show and just talk about stuff, let me know. I'm trying to learn how to do that, trying to get acquainted with everyone, sending out emails and things of that nature. But I really do appreciate all of you that leave me a comment as well as have subscribed to my channel. And I'll see you tomorrow here on The Bald Brad Show.